we chose Miro as a way to share the story of the art trail because it just seemed to lend itself to the opportunity to share all the wonderful visual and audio and moving image that arises from the trail. We calculated that there were 182 physical locations where the festival happened, plus there were 4 activities that spanned over many locations. There were 19 online events and exhibitions. An extraordinary 2,817 artists and exhibitors and creative contributors took part. And alongside those were 860 organisers and volunteers. That's an extraordinary number of people mobilising locally to make something happen when we were all incredibly preoccupied by unusual circumstances. And there was huge uncertainty about what might be achievable. So one of the things we'll be asking you this evening is to think about the adaptations that you made. This gives you an idea of how we worked with, how we all connected. We all had to connect differently. And I did a quick sort of running tally of how many adaptations we made this for the festival in 2021. There were 24 different overarching ways of working in 2021. So there were adaptations that we had to make, such as adaptations in terms of thinking about our health and safety, so engaging health and safety officer. Jess may want to wave at that point, you'll remember all of the assistance she gave us. The introduction of centralised risk assessments and COVID risk assessments. We had our creative climate idea sparks talks had to move online, our artist support sessions had to move online, our one-to-ones had to move online. We changed the festival dates because of the restrictions continuing in ways that none of us had foreseen. And then there were some more practical things that we did during the festival. We had to change how we distributed the trail guide information because some of our shops and some of our key kind of information pickup points just weren't available in the ways that they were. There were changes that we made collectively, and these feel the most powerful, I think, to myself and Laura, and hopefully to other people as well. So, for instance, it felt like it was very much a collective decision that we were going ahead with the festival at all. It felt like we grew the solutions for how to develop our adaptations as circumstances changed, but that we grew them together. So we had ways of making initial connections as artists. It was our network that devised the artist open houses online. We created a WhatsApp group together because of conversations that we had. We initiated and approached a curator for the Possible Futures group show because other people said it would be a great idea and really reassuring to have that as an option. The Pay It Forward initiative that meant that we had secured some income for the festival at an earlier stage than normal was possible because people said, yes, let's go ahead with this idea of committing early to being part of the festival. And then there were adaptations that we made that were inspired by artists and in our network and opportunities that arose. So the Possible Futures theme had been something that was bubbling for Laura and myself for a few months before the festival, but it was inspired by what we had noticed, what we were sensing and hearing in our amongst artists in our network. Engaging a group of 8 inclusion advisors felt like an essential piece of the puzzle for being able to work this remotely with creatives across our town. And through that, there were a number of inclusion initiatives that arose. There was a whole new strand of access information that people so carefully completed to help people who had extra queries about whether they were really going to be able to manage to get to an exhibition comfortably, and whether they were going to be able to feel like they could enjoy it on their own terms. There was a visual story that was created that again grew out of advice that came not only from our inclusion advisors but from other artists within our network who shared their experience of what it meant to them. We all took extraordinary steps. I think that we're still taking a bit of stock, but we've taken quite a lot of stock of how much learning we've made from those steps. And we're really interested to hear what it has meant for you. It takes some time sometimes to digest all the impact of taking part in a project of this ilk. After the hurly-burly is done, what settles for us?